So Kaylin and myself are in the Office of Sustainability, and Abby and Claire mentioned they have worked or are working with the Office of Sustainability. We also have Nicole Riley with us, who heads up our partnerships with UVM Dining and is the Sustainable Dining Partnerships Manager for UVM Dining. So thank you to Nicole for joining us this evening. Next slide. So today's topics, we're going to go over briefly. I'll talk about sustainability as a core value at UVM. And then we're going to split up into specific presentations. We're going to go over waste, transportation, and food and dining. And then we'll have some time for Q&A if anybody is interested. But before we do that, I do want to read the land acknowledgement at UVM. Campus of the University of Vermont sits within a place of gathering and exchange, shaped by water and stewarded by ongoing generations of indigenous peoples, in particular the Western Abenaki. Acknowledging the relations between water, land, and people is in harmony with the mission of the university. Acknowledging the serious and significant impacts of our histories on indigenous peoples and their homelands is a part of the university's ongoing work of teaching, research, and engagement, and an essential reminder of our past and our interconnected futures for the many of us gathered on this land. UVM respects the indigenous knowledge interwoven in this place and commits to uplifting the indigenous peoples and cultures present on this land and within our community. So what you're going to see here is a screenshot of our comprehensive sustainability plan. This was launched just about over a year ago. And it's a wonderful document you can find at a website. It's pretty easily accessible, uvm.edu/CSP. Again, uvm.edu/CSP. If you really want to take a hard look at it, it goes over things like decarbonization, food and dining, waste, transportation, research and learning. This is just a wonderful snapshot of a variety of the things the comprehensive sustainability plan highlights. It's an example of UVM's commitment to sustainability, which we know is a reason many students apply and come to UVM, and hopefully it's for some of the folks attending here tonight. That's one of the reasons. This evening, we're going to highlight some of what's most relevant to the day-to-day lives, but there's a lot more in this document. So again, I think Kaylin dropped a link in the chat. Please take the time to look this over. It's a really wonderful document. We're really proud of a lot of the folks who worked on this. There was students, faculty, and staff, so a great cross-section of folks. And even though it's only a year since it's been launched, we are on track for our goals. So proud to say that we are heading in the right direction. So again, you have uvm.edu/CSP to check out the comprehensive sustainability plan. Our wonderful student Eco Reps is a program here that you'll definitely come into contact with. These are students who are ambassadors of this work. They run programs that you can participate in, and there's a wonderful opportunity also to follow them. You'll see the thing, I forget the name of it, that's down in the right-hand corner, not the barcode, but the QR code is down in the right-hand corner, and you can follow them on Instagram at UVM EcoReps. And they're again, wonderful peer-to-peer educational resources across campus. You will see them or be aware of them when you're here, but we wanted to highlight their great work and their value partnership with us in the Office of Sustainability and Residential Life. Next slide. All right, at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Abby, who is going to discuss waste on campus. Abby, take it away.
Thanks, Corey. Yeah, so I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about waste as it relates to you on campus here. Kaylin, you can go to the next slide. So I'm sure most of you have heard about the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle, but here at UVM, we like to think about the 5 R's because there is a lot more to reducing your waste. The extra 2 R's are going to be to refuse. It's super important to refuse the urge to purchase unnecessary items or cheaply made items that's just going to end up in a landfill in a few months or a few weeks. It's also super important to reduce what you buy and just reduce what's going to end up in that waste stream. Possible to reuse when possible, and y'all know the deal about recycling. And then what is rot, that is going to be composting your food scraps and things that can be compostable. We like to make composting super easy on campus, and I'm going to touch a little bit more about that later. Also, if you want a little bit more info about ways to reduce your consumption, we have this awesome resource that's a conscious consumption guide. That's going to teach you all the things that you need to know in Burlington and just in your daily life about shopping more sustainably. Head to the next slide, Kim. So reuse at UVM, on campus, there are a couple things that you guys can do as students to be more sustainable. Bring a refillable water bottle and a coffee or tea mug around with you when you can. We don't sell plastic water bottles on campus, so it's just more convenient and super easy to carry around a reusable water bottle. And you also get a discount at retail locations when you bring your own coffee mug. Bring a reusable shopping bag when you can, super easy switch. Dine in or use EcoWare. EcoWares are reusable takeout container on campus, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about food and dining. Invest in a spork or cutlery kit. Just bring around a reusable utensil. Bring some from home. Super easy. Just wash it in your dorm sink and use it when you can. And then purchase reusable products when possible. Usually it's going to be easier, cheaper in the long run, and more sustainable. And then beyond campus, when you're looking to like outfit your dorm or stuff, it's always awesome to check out the thrift stores instead of just heading to Target for a bookshelf or something. And you can usually find some awesome stuff for pretty cheap around Burlington. Go ahead, Kaylin. So recycling at UVM, pretty standard. If you've learned about recycling before, you're going to recycle paper, cardboard, junk mail, magazines, plastic and glass bottles, soda cans, clean aluminum foil, metal food containers like soup cans, yogurt tubs, shampoo bottles, plastics of that kind, and cardboard pizza boxes can be recycled as long as they're clean. So that's going to mean no grease stains in them. And then please break down and stack cardboard boxes neatly next to the recycling bin if you have something that's not going to fit in the bin. And things to not recycle: batteries, film plastic, so that's any like clear plastic, like a plastic bag, scrap metal, or milk and juice cartons. Lots of people think that you can recycle those when you cannot. And there are trash and recycling rooms on every residence hall floor, so it's super easy for you guys to sort through this stuff. Go ahead, Kaylin. So composting at UVM. In dining areas, this is a pretty standard picture of what your waste sort is going to look like. Things that you can compost are going to be all food scraps, including meat, fish, dairy, bones, pretty much anything that is on your plate. Coffee filters and paper tea bags, as long as they're not made of plastic. Paper towels that have been used for food, and any wooden chopsticks, stirrers, stuff like that. But please do not compost any packaging of any kind, even if it says compostable on it. It's not accepted in the compost here. So please avoid doing that. And then in residence halls, a little bit more complicated. You're gonna go to your front lobby desk and you're gonna ask for a bag, a compost bag, or sometimes they just have them sitting out and you can grab one. And you're going to fill it with your food scraps in your dorm. And a pro tip is to clip it shut so it doesn't stink up your dorm. And then you're going to, once it's full, you're going to bring the bag to the lobby, and you're going to see a bin that looks just like this one pictured here. And you're going to drop the whole bag into the bin. There's no need to dump it out. The bag can be composted. And then you're going to grab a new bag and keep composting. And what to do with those batteries that you cannot recycle? We have e-waste containers, recycling bins on in every residence hall and a couple other places around campus. And these are going to be places where you can recycle batteries, broken electronic devices, wires and cords, or old light bulbs. And please do not put any large electronic devices like a monitor or something next to the techno trash bin, because that's not going to get taken. It must fit in the techno trash bin. And I'm going to pass it over to Claire for transportation.
I'm just going to jump in real quick, Claire, sorry. And I just want to thank you, Abby. And also just for folks, just a reminder, we're going to do a Q&A after these presentations. So feel free to hold on to those questions. And also just all things recycling can be found at uvm.edu/recycle. So throughout this presentation, we'll be hitting you with a lot of information, but you can always come back to these resources, and all the recycling stuff is at our website, uvm.edu/recycle. Now, Claire, thank you very much for waiting. I'll pass it over to you.
Sounds good. So hi everybody. I'm going to be talking with you about transportation. This is something that I am super, super familiar with. I was a sustainable transportation intern with the Office of Sustainability for a couple of years, and it's also what I study almost every day. So if you have questions about traveling around Burlington or regionally, or just transportation in general, like what is a bike, I am your gal for answering all of that. So you can go to the next slide, Kaylin. Okay, so a couple of things that you should know about getting around Burlington. The first is that it is pretty easy to get around without a car. And I know that that can be scary for a lot of people coming into Burlington who maybe have had access to a car or have grown up and lived for a while in more car-centric areas. But I'm here to tell you, do not worry. You're going to be along with all of the other people at UVM who are also learning about this. So don't fret too much. The first thing is that you can get around using our bus system. It's called Green Mountain Transit, or the Green Mountain State. So they came up with a super creative name for our buses. So GMT buses, you'll see them all over Burlington, and they can take you directly from campus to the downtown area where there's a bunch of fun shops and restaurants and cool stores. They also take you right down to the waterfront, which is really nice because we have killer sunsets here. And then if you're worried about like getting home on breaks and getting to things like the airport and the train stations, the buses also take you directly there. And the buses are running typically more frequently, especially the UVM on-campus buses around breaks. So like if you're worried about missing your flight, don't worry, UVM's got you on that front. The other awesome thing about these Green Mountain Transit buses, which are our regional bus system, is that they're actually free for UVM students. So the cost of a GMT bus pass has already been included in your tuition. So all you have to do is when you get on the bus, you'll have either your CAT card, like a physical copy, or just the version on your phone, and you show it to the bus driver and you get to ride for free. So I've definitely like walked down to the waterfront for sunset and then caught the bus back up the hill because I'm feeling lazy. And it's super nice and easy. So if anyone has any questions about riding the bus, I'll be happy to answer that. Kaylin, you can go to the next slide. The other cool new thing that we have in Burlington is a bike share. So the way that this works, if people aren't familiar with bike shares, it's basically just this collection of bikes that are shared by the community and the members of the bike share. So you would sign up, you would make an account, and then you pay for the time that you're riding the bike. So if you see any of these bird bikes, it's in the picture there, around town, then you can go into the app, you can unlock the bike, and you can ride it around, which is super nice because we have a like awesome bike path along the waterfront. So it can be really great for going along that. Also, because these are electric bikes, they can help you get around some of the hills in Burlington too, which is cool. And just something to keep in mind is that on campus, we like these bikes to be at bike racks because if they're scattered everywhere, it's a hazard for everyone and kind of an eyesore. So if you have one of these bikes on campus, please, please, please put it at a bike rack. And if I don't personally, I'm not a member of this bike share because I have my own bike. I'm an avid biker. But if you have any questions about it, I can do my best to answer it. Kaylin, you can go to the next one. And so besides, biking and busing around town, there is also a car share option for the times where you feel like you need a car to get places. So the car share is also a membership. So you have to like apply to be a part of it because they want to make sure that the people who are members aren't people with like 30 accidents in their past. And we have 3 of the cars actually on campus, so it's super easy and accessible for you to go and rent and take this car around where you need to go. But there's also, if the 3 on campus are busy, there's 23 more cars that are available for the members of this car share around Burlington, and then also Winooski, which if you've never heard of Winooski before, it's just kind of a neighboring city that's super close to campus. Yeah, so you do have to be above 18 to apply to this, but this is also a great option, especially if you're adjusting to not having a car in this area. Go to the next one. And then the other thing that can be kind of scary about coming to a new place far away from home is just how to get home or how to go around and visit friends at other campuses. Or maybe you just, I don't know, want to go to Boston for the day or want to head up to Montreal, which I definitely exercised a fair few times when I was a freshman and sophomore. So we have a lot of options for getting around. I'm going to let you guys read all of them because I don't think it's helpful for me to read them to you. But Amtrak is a great, I take the Amtrak train a fair bit. There's also things that aren't listed on here that can help you kind of get around regionally. But the point of this map here is just to show you that if you live in the Northeast and even beyond, it's pretty reasonable for you to get home without needing your own car or without needing to find somebody who does have a car. The transit system is pretty extensive. The other thing to keep in mind is that some of these places have discounts on breaks. So for fall break and winter break, there's likely going to be cheaper tickets for students to get home. So that's just something to keep your eyes out for around the times that you're thinking about, you know, how am I going to go see my family for Thanksgiving or something. And then if you are interested in carpooling, we have been setting up this thing called a rideshare board, which is exactly what it sounds like. You share rides with other UVM students. So the way that this works is that maybe you have a car and you're going home for a break, you can post a ride. If you don't have a car, you can look at the rides that people have posted and see if something works out with the area that you're hoping to get to and the timing of that person traveling there. And typically with these ride shares, you're splitting the cost of gas. So it can be a nice, cheaper way for you to get somewhere if it works out for you. And you can scan this QR code or type in the code there to join the Microsoft Teams group for this rideshare. Right now, the rideshare lives on Microsoft Teams. I'm not sure if that's going to be its permanent location, but if you're interested, it is there for now. And then the last thing, I have to talk about biking because I'm such a big biker and just a huge proponent of using bikes to get around. So we have a lot of opportunities for you to bike on campus. There are bike storage facilities in almost all of the dorms around campus. These are indoor spaces where you can keep your bike out of the elements because there's nothing worse than going outside and finding your bike is super rusted and suddenly it feels like you're biking with like 150 pounds because you have a super rusty chain. We also have, if you're going to bring a bike to campus, you can keep it in these indoor rooms near dorm. You can also lock it up outside, but we highly, highly, highly recommend that you register your bike with the UVM Bike Index. So just like your car has like a unique identifier, a series of numbers and letters that identifies your vehicle, your bike has the same thing. And when you register it with something like the UVM Bike Index, then if, you know, God forbid your bike gets stolen for whatever reason and it gets recovered, we can actually return it to you. So this is just a nice little insurance policy for your bike. And I know a few people who have gotten their bikes recovered in this way. It's also just helpful for us on campus to know who has bikes. So highly recommend registering your bike, and you can do it through the UVM Bike Index. And there's also going to be people around campus who will help you register your bike over the first month in case you're intimidated and you're like, how do I do this? And then finally, I also want to mention we have this really great bike co-op on campus called UVM Bikes. It's this super rad group of people, and they take in a bunch of the abandoned bikes from around campus, fix them up with their beautiful mechanic brains and hands, and then rent them back to students for $25 a semester. So if you don't have a bike, but are maybe interested in seeing like, oh, am I gonna like biking around Burlington? Or you get to Burlington and you suddenly meet a huge group of bikers and want to join them on rides, you should check out this bike rental opportunity. These are nice bikes, super cheap. And also, if anything goes wrong with the bike, you can take it back to UVM Bikes and they'll help you fix it up. And this goes for anyone with a bike, not just the people who've rented them. So if you have a bike and you want to get it tuned up before riding around town and looking cool, you should take it to UVM Bikes. They actually teach you how to fix it up yourself. So it's not you can just drop it off and walk away. It's much more of a community activity, which is really fun. And they're a really sweet group of people. And then also we just want to mention, please lock your bike. It's absolutely possible that your bike could get stolen. This is a small city. So just to keep your property safe, please lock up your bike and do not use a cable lock. Those things are useless. They are so easy to cut through. We have a live demonstration that we do where like me and my feeble little arms can cut through a cable lock in 2 seconds. Those things are not it. So if you're gonna bring a bike to campus, or if you have friends with bikes, please make sure that they're using the U-locks. And those are also very intuitively named, like our bus system. It's just a big U with like a handle thing on top that locks into it. And we also have demonstrations around campus of like how to properly lock up your bike. But biggest thing I could say is if you're gonna bring a cable lock to campus, you better have a U-lock too, or else I'm gonna be scouting you. Kaylin, you can go to the next slide. Oh, that's all for me, folks. Thanks.
Thank you, Claire. Appreciate it. Yeah, some great information. Yeah, wonderful stuff. And again, we know that we're throwing a lot at you tonight, but all this stuff can be found on the various websites. We'll provide those links, or Kaylin's providing those links. But great information. We're going to hand it back to Abby now, who's going to talk about dining and food. Thanks.
All right. Kaylin, let's go to the next slide. So something awesome about UVM is that we do our best to incorporate sustainability into our food system here. And one way that we're doing that is through the Vermont Fruit First program, which is UVM Dining's commitment to purchasing local and regional food. And we're currently working towards the goal of 25% local, which is Vermont grown, food by 2030. And a super fun and delicious fact is that 100% of the maple syrup on campus comes from UVM's Proctor Maple Research Center, which is such a treat to have real maple syrup in the dining hall on your pancakes. Kelly, you can go to the next slide. And here we have the Vermont First website. Another way that you can incorporate sustainability into your dining is eating plant forward. So that's going to be vegan or vegetarian. And we have vegan and vegetarian options all across campus at all of our dining locations. You can definitely make stuff work, but we have some specifically plant forward dedicated stations. At Peapod, at Harris Millis, that's going to be Peapod, and then at Central and Redstone Dining, that's going to be Rustic Roots, and then the Broccoli Bar in the Marketplace. Super delicious options. And there's always a way to find a vegan and vegetarian option, even if it's not at a specific plant forward station and dining hall. Kaylin, go ahead. So EcoWare, I mentioned it earlier. It is our free reusable takeout container program on campus, and it is having a little rebirth this year, and it is now available on an app. So please scan this QR code to get a jumpstart on your EcoWare journey. To download the Reuse Pass app, and it's going to give you sign in, give you a QR code that you're going to scan to opt into this EcoWare program. And this is available at the dining halls and also at retail dining locations. And you're going to save 25 cents when you use it at a retail dining location. So yeah, go ahead and scan that QR code and download this app before you get on campus. And how to use it, just an example, in the dining halls, you're gonna walk in, scan your cat card and say, hi, can I please have an EcoWare? And then you're gonna scan your Reuse Pass QR code. The lovely person is gonna give you your EcoWare container, and then you're gonna go and you're gonna fill it all the way to the brim, but it must close. And then you're gonna leave the dining hall and you're gonna eat up your food. And then you're gonna return your dirty EcoWare container. You don't even have to wash it within 3 days. Of checking it out. And one thing about the EcoWares is that they have a little technology in them so that we can know when they have been returned or not, and when they've been checked out or not. But if you microwave that technology, it no longer works, which is a real bummer. So if you're going to leave your food for later, put it in the fridge for maybe after you go to the gym or something. Please do not microwave it. Put it on a plate, and leave the EcoWare out of the heat. Okay, next slide. Just a couple more things about reuse on campus, because it's awesome and a super easy way to reduce your waste. Choose a reusable option when you can. Bring your water bottle, because packaged water is not sold on campus. And there's water bottle filler upper stations in every single building on campus. So easy. And there's a 25 cent EcoWare discount at select retail locations. 25-cent refillable mug discount, and a 5-cent spork discount at retail locations when you present that. So not only is it awesome to reuse, but it saves you money, which is super cool. If you want to learn any more about this, dining, and sustainability, go ahead to go.uvm.edu/dining sustainability. And I believe that brings us to questions.